The legislature is leaving Austin. It's June 2nd, 2025, and these are your headlines. 140 days and 1,200 bills later, the Texas legislature officially adjourned sine die today, marking the end of the 89th legislative session, at least the regular session. Now, the Latin term sine die means without a day, signaling that lawmakers are not scheduled to reconvene, at least not yet. While the regular session is concluded, the possibility always remains that lawmakers could be called back to the Capitol for a special session anytime during the next 18 months. That authority rests solely with Governor Greg Abbott, who can summon the legislature to address specific issues of his choosing. At the moment, though, it's not clear that the governor will call a special session, but if he does, one issue appears most likely to warrant one: efforts to strengthen bail reform measures aimed at keeping violent repeat offenders and illegal aliens accused of violent crimes behind bars. Those measures were killed in the House as they were unable to gain enough Democrat support to garner the necessary two-thirds vote needed. In the meantime, Governor Abbott holds a powerful final card: his veto pen. Under state law, the governor has 20 days after final adjournment to sign or veto any bills that have landed on his desk. That means Abbott has until June 22nd to act. If he takes no action by then, those bills automatically become law. A veto from the governor outright kills a bill and prevents it from becoming law. Unlike during the session, lawmakers do not have the opportunity to override a veto after adjournment, making these next couple weeks here critical for any legislation that was passed in the final days. As the dust settles on the regular session, attention now turns to the governor's next moves, whether that means a series of bill signings, a flurry of vetoes, or the return of lawmakers to Austin for a special overtime session. If not, the new legislative session begins January 12th, 2027. Mark your calendars. The Texas House has approved a sweeping education package known as the Parental Bill of Rights, aimed at affirming the authority of parents in public education. Senate Bill 12 by Senator Brandon Creighton and carried in the House by Representative Jeff Leach reflects a negotiated compromise between the House and Senate, but ultimately leaned heavily on House-added provisions that restrict what schools can do without parental involvement. The legislation would ban instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity from pre-K through 12th grade, as well as prohibit school employees from promoting or requiring DEI efforts. One of the most controversial aspects of the final bill is its ban on school-sponsored sex clubs, that's what they called them, based on sexual identity, including gay-straight alliances. Leach defended the provision during debate, saying the goal is to keep sexuality out of the classroom and extracurriculars alike. The final bill also bars school employees from aiding students in socially transitioning to preferred gender identities without parental consent. That's known as social transitioning. That was thanks to an amendment by Representative Steve Toth. Having now passed both chambers, SB 12 will now head to the desk of Governor Greg Abbott, who has indicated he will sign it.
Real Texan.
I hope you'll sit down with Texas Scorecard every Sunday as we visit with real Texans who are doing real things to make the Lone Star State shine even brighter. We're going to be talking to activists and politicians, but we're also going to be talking with men and women who are shaping business in Texas and driving for a better culture.
Efforts to restore the Attorney General's power to prosecute election crimes is officially dead for the legislative session after House and Senate negotiators failed to reach a compromise before a deadline Saturday night. House Bill 5138, which sought to reestablish the Attorney General's authority to pursue election-related offenses, stalled in conference committee after the two chambers approved substantially different versions of the proposal. The House version would have only allowed the Attorney General to act if a local DA failed to bring charges within 6 months. The Senate version would have given the Attorney General concurrent jurisdiction to prosecute alleged violations immediately, restoring the powers that were stripped away by a controversial opinion from the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals back in 2021. Attorney General Ken Paxton had publicly urged lawmakers to accept the Senate's changes, warning that the current system allows voter fraud to go unchecked in jurisdictions where liberal prosecutors refuse to act. But House leadership refused to concur and instead appointed a conference committee that included House Bill 5138 author Matt Shaheen, along with a mix of Republicans and Democrats, some of whom were viewed as unlikely to support a more aggressive restoration of Paxton's authority, or the AG at large. Sources familiar with the negotiations told Texas Scorecard the sticking point came down to the 6-month delay in the House version, which the Senate and Paxton's office viewed as an unacceptable barrier to enforcing election laws. With the conference committee failing to reach an agreement by that Saturday night deadline, the measure is now dead for the session. For more of today's stories, go to texasscorecard.com.